Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Giridhar. Okay, let's wait for 3 to 4 minutes and see for the additional people who are going to join, and we'll start the session. Okay. Anyhow, we decided yesterday, right? Someone was asking, can you just start the Angular from basics? Okay, we'll start that anyhow. But before that, I just want everyone on the same path. Okay, so that we will start doing the same from our side as well in Angular. Hey Suresh, it's been a lot of days we have not spoke.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Yeah, so I was completely busy in completing the existing batches from Nadesh IT, morning 7:30 batch and evening 6 p.m. batch. So all those batches are closed and concluded. So this is the only batch which I have left with. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think it will be continuous session, Suresh. So maybe we have a lot of gaps, right? So that's the reason I just wanted to start Angular again, because we have not covered so many topics in Angular, right? We were just done with the basic things, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. We just started up. Yeah,
Right,
that's
right,
true.
right. So that's the reason we just wanted to touch it again, and we will just go along with the flow. Okay.
Yes, sure, sir. Thanks for
Yeah, yeah,
updating.
yeah. Thank you, Suresh. Okay, probably we will just start the session on Angular. I will just go and share my screen. And I will just go to this one. And here, I just wanted to create an application with Angular fundamentals. I'll just open this with Visual Studio Code. And here, just trust it. So right now I do have the Angular version as NG version. Sorry, NG version. So I do have 16.2.8. If you do want to do the same, so you can actually do npm install -g @angular /CLI @16.2.8. This is what you need to do. Otherwise, the latest version of Angular 17 will be installed on yours. Okay, so 17 is a complete changed version of Angular. So all the syntaxes are new. But if you don't understand the old version of Angular, then probably we are not using old version. We are almost using 16.2.8, which is one version less than the current version right now in the market. Okay. So this is what you need to do. And once this is done, you'll be having this Angular CLI 16.2.8. That's all. And now what I just wanted to do, I just wanted to create a new project, ng new, and I just wanted to say it as Angular fundamentals. That's it. So it will actually create Angular fundamentals project. Yes, I just wanted to add it. Select SCSS and it will create the project of Angular. just go through the flow again so that everyone will be on the same path. I don't want to confuse a lot of people, but learning Angular is bit difficult, but I will just make it as simple as it is. Okay. Don't worry about that. So we'll just start with the basics. So once it is installed, then probably you can import the same project. Yes. So I'll just go to this one, open folder, or I'll just close this one and open this one. You can just right click on this and open with Visual Studio Code. That's it. That's what you need to do. And here we do have the Angular project, and here you can see some set of files which are related to Angular. First of all, we'll just go to this package.json, where it is simply like pom.xml, where we actually define our dependencies. Okay, we do have Angular animations, common compiler, all this kind of default dependencies which will be coming with the creation of Angular project. Okay. And then we do have something called the Angular JSON. And one more thing I just wanted to say. So whatever the dependencies that you see over here, all those dependencies will be coming inside this node modules. Okay. So once you have the dependencies, we can actually use it. And there is something called angular.json. So this is the angular.json, which Angular will be using it in order to, how to start the application and what page it has to show to the end user. So here we'll be having something called the index path and the main class to start with. Okay, so main.ts is the main file. It is like a main method in Java, and this is the end result. That means which page has to be shown to the end user at the end of the application. So if I just go and click on this one, yes, we can change it, narration. There is no problem. Okay, but we need to consider if there are any breaking changes or not once we actually change the version or not. Okay, but right now stick with 16.2.8 version in order to not break our existing application. Okay, so that's what I can say. So in order to run this application, I do want to have ngserve command to actually run the application of Angular. Yeah. And now if I can just go to this one, and here it actually shows we need to open this path. Copy this, sorry, I just stopped it. Yes. So now I can simply go to this and enter this. So this is the welcome page of Angular. Okay. So now what I can simply do, I will just go to this, the main page, which is actually being shown up. And just completely remove this. I just wanted to h1 tag. Angular fundamentals. So this is what we actually see on the screen. Okay. So now if I just go back to the angular.json, so we'll just see how it actually runs behind the scenes. So there's something called source main.ts. This is like a main Java file or the main file of Angular. So it is actually going to use one platform browser dynamic. This is one of the public API which we can use it in order to load our modules. So in Angular, we do have something called a root module, and it contains child modules. Okay, so let me tell you what is this module is about. So there is something called platform browser dynamic bootstrap module of app module. So app module is simply like a class in TypeScript, like in Java as well. Okay, so we do have something called an app module where we do have something called bootstrap of app component. I will just go to this app component, and there is something called a selector app-root. So we need to use the selectors as tags inside our index.html page. And this is what it is going to show. Whatever the data which is present inside this is being shown over here. Okay. So how Angular understands that this is a main file, and how Angular understands that this is a page that it has to display, right? So each and every information will be provided by the angular.json file, where we do have something called a index file to be shown to the end user, and the main file where the Angular has to start the flow of the application. Okay. So now if you just go to this main.ts, there is something called platform browser dynamic to bootstrap our main module. So this module is like a class, but it has a lot of components. So module is going to contain a combination of components. This is one of the component that you are going to see over here. Okay. So this is one of the component that you are going to see over here. And the component itself is this one, app.component.ts, where it is annotated with @component, same like Spring, guys. So if you are going to use @service, @component, @controller on top of a Spring class, or on top of a Java class, it actually creates an instance of the class itself, like the same way. Okay, it is going to instantiate this app component also. So here, can you see that in this @component annotation, there are three attributes. One is the selector, another one is a template URL, and another one is the styles URLs. So here you can see that selector is nothing but a custom tag that we can actually use it in our HTML pages in order to display the content inside this app component.html. Okay, if you just go and see the index.html, we are actually using app-root. And that's the reason we are going to see this one inside our browser. So let me go and close all this, and let me go to this Angular HTML and app component.ts. Let me delete this spec file which is actually there for testing. Okay, let me remove this. So if I just go to this app component.ts, and I do have a app component.html. So I have to display this title inside this HTML. So how we can actually do that? So we can actually do that with data binding. Okay. So here I just wanted to make this as, this is something called string interpolation. Okay. And here exactly I can use title. Can you see this? So if you just wanted to send some data from a TypeScript file to a HTML file, we can actually use string interpolation, which will actually use double curly braces with double closing curly braces, and we can actually define that variable inside that curly braces in order to display the content dynamically on the web page. And we use it a lot even in our Hunger Savior portal a lot. Okay, So this is how it is actually being shown. Now, let's say, so this is from component to the HTML, but how we can actually send the data from HTML to TypeScript? Is there any way? Yes, let me tell you about the event binding feature also. So let me tell you about the event binding. So here I do have something called input. You can actually make this as input colon text. It will come directly to you like this. And here you can actually go to this one and you can actually see that there is a text box. Now, whenever I am typing something inside this HTML, I do have to receive that data inside this component. So how I can actually receive the data? There is something called an input event. So before telling this event, right? So let me tell you about the property binding first of all. Okay. So let's say I just do have something called an image. And here I just wanted to go to this one. So let me take this one, save image as, and I will just go and click on the screen batches, real-time batch 2, Angular session, fundamentals, source, assets. And here is what I just wanted to save the image as image -1. And next I just wanted to select another image. I think any image will be fine, right? So let me take this one. Save image as image-2.jpg. That's it. I don't want to do anything else. And now here I just wanted to go to this one, right? So if I just wanted to give image source, how I can actually give it? So there is something called assets /image-1.jpg. Okay. So you can see that image-1 and image-2 are there. So now if I just go back and go and see that there is a image over here, right? And if I just go back and see that there is something called assets image2.jpg. So you can actually see it over here, right? But let me go and simply say that there's something called input text. And here, I just wanted to use a value here. Okay. So here, the value has to come from, if you just see it over here, this is an empty box, right? So right now, I just wanted to get this value from the or text box value. Okay. I just typed like this, and here I just wanted to, get the TypeScript value over here. So how I can actually get that one? So if I just type that one, it is not coming. Can you see this text box value? And if I just go back and see that this is actually coming over here, but I don't have to get that type of the variable name. I have to get this value. So if I have to get this value, there is something called, can you see this one? Square brackets. And you can actually see that it is visible over here. So this is something called a property binding. Okay, so we are actually binding the property value of this one to this particular input component over here. So this is what we actually do. Okay, so right now we are continuously displaying the values. So there are two values. Let's say if I just wanted to use title directly inside the p tag, I can actually use open double curly open braces. And then if I just wanted to use that particular value inside the text field of the input, probably I need to use this open bracket and closed bracket, and then only this is visible. Can you see this over here? It is actually clickable. But if I just remove this one, it is not clickable. Can you see this? It is not clickable. So basically it is going to point out to this particular value, which is inside our TypeScript. So this is how it actually goes. Got it, right? Then that is what you are going to see over here. This is something called a property binding, where we can actually display a property value inside some HTML tags like input. Okay. So now there is something called, I just wanted to, so right now we have seen that how to send data from, the component, that means a TypeScript class, to a HTML. We have seen in two ways. One is a string interpolation and another one is a property binding by using square brackets. But can we send this same data? There's something called H2 and event binding. And here I just wanted to use the same one, but here instead of using the value directly, I just wanted to use input event, which is this one. And here I just wanted to receive value from receive value. And here we need to give $event. And we need to have this same method inside this app component.ts. And here you can actually use that E, and you can mention it as any. Any means it is just like a object notation in Java. So if you don't know the type, we can actually mention it as object in Java, right? But in TypeScript, we actually mention it as any. Okay. So here I just wanted to console.log e.target.value. I'll just tell you why I'm taking this one. Okay. I'll just show it in the bit in a bit. So if I just go back to this one, and if I just type something, and if I just open this one, and if I just type something, can you see that there is an input event? And if you can see that in the input event, we do have something called, this is an input event e.target.value. This is the target. And if you just go over here, attributes, styles, and we do have something called a target dot value. So if I just e dot target, and if I just type something, and here you can actually see that complete text over here, and there is something called value, and you can just see that I'm just typing it. Can you see this? It is continuously giving me the value from HTML to the component. But if I just paste, let's say pass value. Okay. So now if I just type something here, see, there is nothing in the log, right? So what that actually means, right? So input is a reserved event for the input tag, which was given by Angular. So there is an input event where we can actually receive these values from the HTML to the TypeScript component or a TypeScript class. So if this is input event, then probably we can receive those events on the logs. Now, so this is what event binding is about. So can we combine? So I just wanted to do one thing. Okay. So H2, property binding and event binding. So how we can actually use this one, right? So if I just go back to this, and if I just wanted to give a test, like exactly the same like this, and so here, I just wanted to go to this one, change value. And here I just wanted to keep the same functionality and change value. And here, initial value as empty. That's it. And if I just go back to this one, this dot initial value equal to e dot target dot value. Okay, now if I just go back to this, and here I just wanted to use a p tag, and here I just wanted to use that initial value. Okay, and here let's see what happens here. So if I just type something over here, it is actually going to give me the exactly the same thing, that whatever I'm typing, it is actually changing the TypeScript object over here. But let me tell you one more thing over here, right? So here, I just wanted to define a value tag. And here, I just wanted to give the initial value. And here, I just wanted to wrap them inside this one. Okay. This is the initial value. And can you see the same? See the same, right? So this is parallelly happening. But do you have any better way to combine this property binding? So property binding has square brackets and event binding has parentheses. This is what you need to remember. So whenever you see parenthesis as a wrapping one over the text, you can actually determine that as an event. And if it is wrapped with square brackets, it is basically called a property binding. So can we combine this both? Yes, we can do this both by using, I will just comment this out. Best approach to combine above functionality. Property binding and event binding. So here what I just wanted to do, I'll just go to this one and I will just go and combine this into single functionality, which is something called ng model. And here you can actually give that as initial value. But this is actually giving me an error, because if you can just go and see the issue, can't bind to ng model since it is not a known property of input. Okay, so this ng model is basically from forms module. If I just go to this app module, in the imports, I just have to import the forms module. And with that in place, the issue is resolved. And if I just go back to this, you can see the same result. Okay, so that's the total idea. So this is how we can actually, learn about this. So this is being used in a lot of places, the different types of bindings. So we do have string interpolation, where we actually pass the data from a TypeScript component to HTML component. And we do have something called an event binding or the property binding. This is an alternative way of passing the data from the TypeScript component to a HTML property as this, like this. And we do have something called event binding, where event binding helps in passing the data from HTML component to TypeScript component like this with an event-based approach. And we can combine this one and this one like this over here, like this with ng model. And you need to import the forms module over here. Okay, so let me explain you about this app module.ts first. And if you just go over here, there is something called an app module. App module is basically like package, right? We actually have some packages in Java project, and packages used to contain classes. But here, package itself is a class where it contains subclasses like components. Okay, so here it is annotated with @ng module. So it actually creates an object for this app module by having when it sees this annotation, and it has four different attributes. One is the declarations, where what are all the components are there inside this app module. We can declare all those components over here. That's why it is an array. And imports. Let's say if I just wanted to remove the browser module over here, nothing will be there. That means, so browser module is adding some functionality to our Angular application to show the data to the end user. If the browser module is not there, the browser does not know how to display the data to the end user. And you can see there is no data over here. Got it? So we need to import that one as well. Okay. That's the reason these modules are specific to displaying the data to the end user. Right now, this is not required. This doesn't play any role. So you'll not be able to see any issues. Okay. But we will see this later on when the time comes. Okay. So now here is the providers array. Right now, you can just forget about it. When we talk about services, then probably we will just discuss about these providers. And there is something called a bootstrap. So here, which component to be shown to the end user for this module, as this module is being loaded from the main.ts, right? So this module is going to contain a set of components, but what component we need to show, that will be declared in the bootstrap of app component. So here the app component will be shown. This is the app component, and here we do have something called app-root, which is exactly same like this one. If you just go to the index.html, there's something called app-root. So this app-root is a custom tag, and it has been taken from the app component ts, which is a selector. And whatever the data which is present inside this HTML, that data is being shown to the end user over here. Got it? So that's the total mechanism. Okay. And these are all the type of the bindings that we do have. One is a string interpolation, and another one is a property binding, and another one is a event binding, and another one is property binding and event binding to combine the event binding as well as the property binding in a single go with ng model. Okay, so this is what it is basically about. So these are the data binding concepts. So if you just wanted to pass the data from HTML to the TypeScript, we actually use this event binding. And when we just wanted to pass the data from TypeScript file to HTML, there are two ways. One is this way, and another one is a property binding with square brackets. And we actually give the value over here. Okay, so if this is not there, then whatever the value that is provided, text box value, it will come over here. Can you see this? But this is not correct, right? So we need to wrap it over this so that whatever the value for this text box value as Angular is there, that will be displayed over here. Okay. So that's the total idea, guys. Okay. And now we will do some other things. Okay. Let's close all these things, and I'll just comment this part out. Okay. So let me remove this one. Okay. And here, basically what we can simply do, we can actually generate parent component and child component, and we'll see how the data will be passed to, let's say I just wanted to generate ng generate class, not a class, it's a component, and I just wanted to call this as parent. And I just wanted to create another one, which is a child. So now you know about string interpolation, property binding, event binding, and also the event binding will be done in a, that means property binding and a combination of event binding, which is a ng model based, right? So we can do all these approaches. But let me tell you some important concepts over here. So we do have a parent component where we do have parent works, and we do have a child component where we have something called child works. That's it. Now, if I just have to use that, you know, I want to display the parent component inside the app component. So what I need to do? So go to the parent component .ts and see a selector. Yes, this is a selector. And I just wanted to go to this one app component.html, and I just wanted to paste that over here. And now this is a tag. Now, if I just go and see that parent works, so whatever the data which is displayed over here is the app parent, and whatever the data which is present inside the parent component.html, that is being shown over to the end user like this. Okay. So now, if I just go back to the child, and if I just go back to this child component.ts, and if I just see this selector app-child, I can simply use this one, and whatever the data which is displayed over here, I want that to display over here as well, below the parent. Okay, and I just wanted to go to the app component and just paste it over here. That's it. Very simple. Parent works and child works. We are going to get the same scenarios. Okay. So this is how we actually nest the components inside one single component. And finally, can you see that this is app component.ts, and this is app-root, which is used in index.html as a single tag. And this is what we are actually going to show. Anyhow, it is actually showing the app component, but inside that it has some other components, app component. And if I just go back to this actually shows. And if I just go back, and if I just go back to this app child, this is what we are going to show. Okay. So this is how we actually nest the components in Angular. And this is how the single page application will work. So what is single page application, right? So SPA. So if I just go to this one, index.html, this is a single page which is being served to the end user, right? And there are no HTML pages. That means, right? So this is a single page which is being served to the end user. And if you just right click on this one, go to this, there's something called view page source. Can you see this? It is a single index.html page. Nothing is being shown up over here. Do you see, you know, app component.html or parent component.html or child component.html? No, it's a single page where we can actually see the same thing. Okay. My voice is not breaking. I think my internet is pretty much good. So let me check. Is my voice is breaking, guys, for everyone? No, it is actually good. I think Anish Fatma, it is actually breaking for you. Kindly check your internet connection. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Okay, so you can see at the end of the at the end of this particular scenario or the use case, we can see there is only one HTML page which is index.html page, and you cannot see anything over here because all those are not HTML components. You may think that these are HTML components, but they are not. Can you see those? No. Okay. So those are HTML components, but they are not acting like HTML components. Okay. So that's the total idea. Okay. So now I'll just go back to this. And let's say I'll just go to this app component.html. Okay. So here I'll just remove this child, and I just wanted to keep only the parent, so that parent works. And inside the parent component.html, I just wanted to use app-child. That's it. The same thing works, right? So here in the app component.html, there is only a parent. And here child works because in the app parent, that means parent component, there is a child also. Okay. So now this is a parent component and this is a child component, right? So we do have a reference to child also from the parent component. So can we pass some data from the parent to child? So how we can actually pass the data from parent to child, right? So we actually use something called, so let me tell you about this functionality. I will just go to this parent component.txt and data to child. I'll just make this as empty. Okay. So now I'll just take input, just type input colon text. And here I just wanted to type something. And here I just wanted to have dollar event. So this is syntax. Okay. So I'll just get this one and insert the parent as a method. And here we can actually make this as E and any, so that we can actually say this dot data to child equal to E dot target dot value. Okay. So now we need to pass this, the data of this string. Right now it is not initialized. Whenever I type something, that data has to be passed to the child component. So now what I can simply do, how we can actually do that one. So if I just go to this one, I'll just go to this one, data from parent equal to, initially it is null. Okay. And I just wanted to use this data from parent, and I will just go to this one and here I just wanted to make this as square brackets, and here data to child. Okay. So why this is not being allowed, right? So if you just go to this child component.ts, is actually there, but there is something called @input. We need to, sorry, @input. This from Angular core, can actually use that one, and parenthesis. So if you just see it over here, so there is no error. And here in the parent component.ts, I have this data to child. Right now it is empty. Whenever I type something, the value of this data will go to the child. So now in the child component.ts, I'm actually receiving that value, right? So just make this as this one, and here this is empty. But I just wanted to use this data from parent That means this is a child, right? Just go to this one and I will just make this as that's it. Now, if you can see that, so this is a parent component, right? This is a complete parent component. And whenever I type something over here, this is how we actually pass the data from parent to child, just like this. By using, if you just go to this one, you need to make sure that there is a property, and this property has to be exactly used in parent component.html over like this. And we need to give the value for this child property from the parent, which is this one, where this value is getting changed whenever we actually change the value of this text with the input binding. Got it? So this is what we need to do, exactly the same. Hope you understand. Okay, but can we combine this event binding and this one to the ng model? Let's see. I'll just go to this one and I'll just make this as ng model, and nothing, we cannot use that one. Okay, so this is a different approach. So when we actually want to combine this one, if you just go back to the app component.html, so when you have this property binding and event binding in the same property tag, then you can combine that with ng model. Okay, so not like this. This is an event and this is a property. You cannot combine two different tags, event and property, into a single ng model. You cannot do that. Okay, so this is something called how we can actually pass the data from the parent to a child. So what you need to do, so this is a child component, right? So this property has to be defined inside the child component.ts, same thing, and that has to be annotated with @input. Why? Because this component is not available to the, that means data from parent, right? So this data from parent, so here if you can see that in the child component, do we have a reference to parent? No, we don't have a reference to parent tag. But here in the parent component.html, we do have a reference to child. So there is a connection between parent component.html and child component.html. So we can actually pass from parent to child. That means in the child component.ts, you have to take one property and you have to display that property inside the child component.html using string interpolation. That is fine. But how to pass the data to this component? So do we have child component reference anywhere in the parent? Yes, we do have something called a app-child. We are actually using the tag. So what we can actually do, we can actually use the property binding and we can actually use the value to this. And if I just remove this one, what will happen? Data to child, this is the value, it will come. Can you see this one? See, nothing will happen. So here it is not a property binding. This is just a value for this one which has been given. But if I just make this to this one, the data to child is initially empty and you can change it behind the scenes. No, Naresh, we can actually pass a single data. So right now we are actually passing it as a string, right? So how to pass multiple values? So we actually pass objects instead of strings or integers. Got it, Naresh? We actually pass custom objects. Well, let's say if I just wanted to pass 2 or 3 values, it's better to pass an object instead of passing one value. Okay, so we actually use objects for that. But we will see that later, Naresh. Any hurries for that? We'll definitely see that. Okay. So this is how we actually pass the data from parent to child, but how to pass the data from child to parent. So let's say, so how we can actually remember this type of annotations, right? So let me close all this one and make it very simple from this particular place. So let me go to this child component.ts, data from parent, and let me go to this parent component.html, and instead of this one, I just wanted to pass hello from parent. Can you see this? Okay, so this is how we actually pass the data from parent to child. So here I can remove this one. So this will not work because this is actually treating as a data. So what is the type of data? It's a type of string. So you need to keep that in single quotations and you need to pass the data. Okay, so if you are not passing this as a property binding, then you don't have to mention this. It will work. Okay, but it has to be property binding. So that means whatever the value that we are going to give, it has to be and in a single quotations, then only it will work. And if you just wanted to change it dynamically, we have something called like this. So where we can actually change hello from parent. Got it? That's it. So now we have seen from parent to child, we are going to pass the data. How? Because inside a parent, we do have something called a child tag. There is a dependency tag. So we do have a child reference, but if we wanted to pass the data from a child to parent, do we have a reference to parent tag inside child? No. Then how we can do that, right? So if we have to pass the data from parent to child, we use something called a property binding, right? But if you just wanted to pass the data from child to parent, there is no reference. We need to use event binding. Child to parent. Okay, so the only way, right? So here we do have a reference to child. That's the reason we are using property binding to pass the data to a child, right? But if we just wanted to pass the data from child to parent, we need to use event binding. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm talking about. So here I do have something called same input text, and here I just wanted to use a input event receive value dollar event, and I just wanted to wrap this inside a string, and here I just wanted to keep the receive value inside a child component.ts, and console, not console.log, we do have to use something called data to parent. Okay, so parent gives birth to child, so we are actually taking some properties from the parent, so that's why it is at the rate input decorator. Okay, so I'll tell you what happens over here. So data to parent, so I need to actually use new event emitter. We need to use event binding, right? There is something called new event emitter, and here we can actually mention it as a string, and data to parent. So I will actually use this one in order to make this as output, and here data to parent dot, there's something called emit, e dot target, e dot target dot value. Okay, So now this data to parent is a event, right? So how I can actually take this reference, right? So I can actually use in the parent component.html, I can actually take that one as an event. This is an event, and here receive data from child. I can actually write one method and I can actually take an event, right? And here I can actually use this. And if I just go back to this parent component.ts, and here I'll just use this one. And here I just wanted to data from parent equal to empty initially. And I just wanted to use data from parent. Sorry, this is data from child, right, sir? And here I'll just use this one. This dot e dot target dot value. That's it. And now I can just use this one in the parent component.html. Data, not this one. Data from child. That's it. Okay. Now if you can just go to here. So this is data from parent. So we can actually type this. We'll actually get that. But here, I'll just remove this confusing thing. So data from child, this is this one, right? So here we do have something called chain component and data to parent. Okay, this is data from parent and this is data to parent. Okay. So here when I type something, there is an error. Cannot read properties undefined reading value, receive data from child. That means what is happening here? If I just go to this parent component, this data to parent, right? This data to parent is actually defined inside this child component.ts. And here, data to parent is actually annotated with @ output, right? So what is this meaning? So if I just go to this one, so receive data from child, right? So what is the error? Why it is unable to read the data? So if I just go back to this one, and if I just comment out this, and I just wanted to type this console.log e dot target dot value. And if I just go and type something, it is actually getting typed over here. Why it is not getting assigned to the target dot value, right? So what I need to do over here, right? So here I have to use this one a dot target dot value, right? So I need to assign this to some value over here. Let's say, you know, some string data or data of type string. You can actually define this one. Sorry for that. Yeah. So here is the data. So what is the data over here? So there is nothing over here. And here I cannot use e dot target dot value directly because it is unable to read that. Can you see this? So how to pass this data directly? So right now we will not use any event for now. We'll just see that later. But here I just wanted to go to this one and here receive value of $event. So I just wanted to leave this as a homework for everyone so that I just wanted to see how you are going to solve this. Okay. So here you can actually see that we are getting the value over here, but we are unable to emit the data to the parent using e.target.value. So anyone knows about this particular scenario? No. I have to pass it through the event only, Naresh. Directly we can pass it. That's simple. But I need to pass it with some event binding feature. How we can do that? Okay. So I'll leave this part to you as an exercise, but I just wanted to have one button. And I just wanted to have a click event. Click is another event where you can pass data to parent. So here I will just have the child component.ts. And here I'll just use this data to parent dot emit. That's it. Okay. So here, if I just, okay, so I'll just go to this one button. So okay, I'll just make this as this one. So cannot read properties of undefined reading value. So what is the problem here? So there is a click event button type submit. So what is happening here? Anyone knows about it? Why the button is not getting? Anyone has written button before? Anyone? Anyone has? Yeah. Okay. So what is the issue? Why I'm not able to see a button over here now? Yeah, simple button, but I'm not displaying anything over here, let's say. Okay. So we do have something called a type button. Yeah. Okay, I can simply use this. And we cannot see that one, but here we need to actually give a value as submit. So we can actually see that there is nothing popping up over here. So who has given this answer first? Anish Fatma. What is happening? Why the button is not getting displayed? Any reason? I know it, but I just wanted to test your HTML knowledge also. What is happening here? Why it is not getting displayed? It's simple, right, guys? No. Where is the input, bro? Huh? Everyone is sleeping, I guess. Huh? There is no button tag, right? Correct or not? That's the reason to make sure that you have a very good HTML knowledge. Okay. I see this mess up with a lot of candidates. They are going to see, hey, type button. But what is the tag? Do you have a button tag, man, in HTML? No, right? This is where you can see this. So now what is this one? So unable to read the value, receive data from child. What is this? So we are unable to pass the data to a parent also. But this is data to parent, which is an event emitter. and this has been annotated with @output, and this has been there inside the event binding of the parent component.html as this. But why we are not able to receive the data? So that's the concern over here. Got it? So I want this one to be resolved from your side, and let me know this by tomorrow. Okay. So I will just go ahead and create a zip file of this by deleting the node modules. So make sure that you install npm install and then do ngserve. Otherwise, the application will not work. Got it? I'll just stop this application, and I will just give this zip file for everyone. But solve this from your side, okay? So see the data, how it is actually working, okay? And understand it. Okay, maybe I need to close this one as well. Yeah. So now I'll just give this zip file to everyone. And that's it. I'll just go to the Telegram channel. So these are very basics, and I just wanted to teach this for tomorrow as well. And then we will start with Hunger Savior portal, where we will cover most of the things. Okay. And here, Java real-time project. I'll just attach the file, and I will just go back to this. That's it. Okay. So see it and let me know if you have any questions. But resolve that event binding for me from child to parent. Parent to child, it is okay. But from child to parent, why it is not working? Okay. So that's the task for you. Yes, Giridhar sir.
So only I have one doubt. Means while assigning value, just we are doing okay. Means in a function we are doing okay. Variable name dot target dot value. So
Yeah.
is there any difference between directly giving that variable name and that variable name dot target dot value?
See why I'm giving it as a dot target dot value, because we are receiving it as an event, Giridhar. See,
Okay.
we are actually passing the value from the input tag, right? So in Angular, we do have for input tag, there is an input event.
Okay.
So whatever the value that we are going to receive, we are going to receive it as an event, not
Okay.
as a value directly.
Hmm.
So that's the reason inside the event, we do have something called a target, and inside the target, we do have a value. That value is basically whatever we are typing in the text box, that is a value. So
Okay. Okay.
everything is an event in Angular. See, right
Okay.
now, we are actually working on custom events. So can you see that from the child to parent, we are actually passing the data as an event. Why as an event? Because in the child, we don't have a reference to parent tag, correct?
Yes.
So we need to use an event binding in order to pass the data from child to parent, but it is not working. So that's the reason I have actually given that as a homework for everyone, so that you can actually go through those basics and understand it and implement from child to parent how the data is going to be passed. Got it?
Yes, okay, sir. Means okay.
Yeah.
If it is the type, means if it is type not is equal to any, and if it is type as any string, means we are
Mm.
giving a variable colon any, right? So if we given directly string, then no need to give this target dot value, right? Directly we can assign, right, sir?
No, 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 no. See, input tag is a HTML tag, correct?
Okay, answer. That is an
If it is a
event. Okay.
custom tag, if it is a custom tag, that means if it is app-child tag, then you can give the value and you can receive it directly in the TypeScript as
String.
a value directly, because that is
Okay.
not an event. Got
Okay,
it?
sir. Okay, okay, sir.
Got it now, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, that's all for today. And make sure that you complete that child to parent data passing. Okay. Complete that and let me know tomorrow so that we can have some more advanced concepts. We will discuss that directly with the Hunger Savior portal. Okay. So that you will all get some understanding how in a project we can actually use which feature, which particular use case we can actually use it in our Hunger Savior portal to pass restaurants data. Someone has asked me how we can actually pass multiple parameters. We don't actually pass multiple parameters because that is a bad idea. We actually pass it as an object. Okay. That's what we see. If you just think about a normal plain Java class where there is a method, and inside that method we are calling another method. How we are going to pass the parameters? 1 or 2 or 3 parameters is fine. But if we have to pass 100 different parameters, can't we create a can we create a method with 100 different parameters? No, we actually pass a object, right, instead of parameters. So that is how the same functionality works in Angular as well. Okay. Yeah. That's all, guys. I'll meet you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.